Next up, I'm going to introduce, I call him the brainchild for this whole event. Back, I want to say in November, Thor Rasmussen of the Saginaw Art Museum and I met at the SVRC Marketplace in Saginaw, and he told me about Bright Walls Jackson, and really blew me away when I looked into it. A really awesome program, is exactly what we're hoping to create. Adding some very much needed color to some blank canvases throughout the city. The scale of it is amazing. And what I really like is that, you know, Jackson is a city of 32,000 people, and we have 3 of those communities right here. And we have smaller communities that can really benefit from public art as well. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Thor. Introduce Jackie for us.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Wayne. I think you give me too much credit, but I'm very pleased that this is coming together. Just a short introduction. Who knows what a fresh coat of paint can do? Bright Walls does. Probably better than most. Bright Walls, a mural festival founded by the Jackson young professionals, left a literal mark in Michigan, from raising funds, working with numerous stakeholders, to curating internationally recognized artists, executing events in the week-long festival. No task was too big or too small in pursuit of turning gray walls into an acclaimed gallery of larger-than-life art. Today, we will hear from Jacqueline Austin, event co-director of Bright Walls Mural Festival. Jacqueline has a unique ability to take a small idea, whether it is her own or someone else's, and make it a bigger-than-life reality. She has a passion for her hometown, Jackson, Michigan, and it shows in everything she does. Jacqueline is wearing a lot of hats, including being a co-owner and CEO, Chief Events Officer of placemaking company, Think Jackson, quality manager and real estate agent of Thinking Real Estate and Michigan Real Estate Brokerage, quality manager of Orange Door Properties, a property management company, and director of Professional Learning Network, a Michigan proprietary property real estate school. She completed a master's in urban planning at the University of Michigan Turbine College in 2016. Jacqueline spends her free time volunteering in the community as vice president for Jackson Young Professionals, event co-director of Bright Walls Mural Festival, and chair of Jackson's Downtown Development Authority. Jacqueline, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So thank you for having me. I'm excited to share what we're doing here in Jackson with another community, and I'm not sure how many people on the call know about Bright Walls or have been to Jackson. So I'm just going to kind of go through. I'll give you a taste of what we've done, talk about some of the behind the scenes stuff that we've done, and then I love questions. So I would love to have people put questions in the chat, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of time for those. So we'll start by telling you a little bit about the community. Jackson is in the city, 33,000 people, and in the county we have 150,000. So we're a fairly small community, and when we were doing research on mural festivals, we were actually one of the smaller communities to have actually done a mural festival. Sorry, I'm having some issues with my computer. Have done a mural festival of this caliber, an international mural festival. In Jackson, our largest employers are Consumers Energy, the prison, and Henry Ford Allegiance Health. What in our primary industry here is manufacturing. So we were really well known in the past for auto manufacturing, whether it was parts or full cars, things like that. And one of my favorite little tidbits about Jackson is we always say we can make anything. And one of my favorites is that we actually invented the wire hanger here in Jackson. We also had a big corset industry, and one of the most famous corset production companies was here in Jackson. We do try to focus as much as we can on public art already existing in our community. We're very well known for the Cascade Falls. It is the largest man-made falls in the United States. It's really fun. It does a lot of colors and coordinates the colors with the music, and every night you can go and see really cool things, or you can walk it and get splashed by the fountains, and they have concerts all the time there as well. We have a Louise Nevelson, which is in our downtown. It's the Summer Night Tree. And as well as this, the Glidden Parker mural, which was a mural that was designed to show the history of the energy industry, and with Consumers Energy's headquarters right here in Jackson. That was very cool for us. It was originally in a Consumers Energy building, and when that building was torn down, it was saved, and now it's in a public park for everybody to see. I'm part of a group called Jackson Young Professionals, and our group started in 2014 because we saw a need for something for young professionals in Jackson. I remember going to the first meeting, and I only really went because my cousin was putting it on, and I thought, oh, I'll just go to support her. I don't know what's going to happen with it. But when I showed up, there was a group of 100 young professionals that I didn't know, and I know a lot of people in Jackson. So that to me right there was the biggest indication that Jackson needed something like this. So in the last 5 years, we've grown to 90 members with a board of 10. Everything's volunteer, and our complete support is by sponsorships and memberships. One of the things we're most famous for is our large group meetings, where we want to explore Jackson. So we take our group to different locations every month, and we get behind the scenes tours or get into places that maybe you can't get into on a normal basis, just because we want to see what our community has to offer. Our mission is build relationships, have fun, love Jackson. And when we were thinking about the Love Jackson part, we thought, how can we put our stamp on Jackson? How can we show our love for the community? So we came up with this idea of doing a mural, and it started out as this small idea of just doing a mural to show that we were here, to put our stamp on Jackson. And when that came up, it kind of rapidly grew into this huge idea of doing a mural festival. So when we look at our mural festival, we have 3 major cornerstones of our festival. It's installing diverse and high quality public art, creating a sense of place with strategic mural placement and activating underutilized areas, and then offering a free festival for the entire community. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to show you a video from last year, and it kind of really does a good job of summarizing what we've done. And then we'll come back and I'll tell you how we did this. Give me 1 second to get it started.
We spend about a year planning for this 1-week mural festival that brings in artists from all over the world to Jackson, Michigan, and also engages our local community so that we can have so much fun and bring downtown to life.
Beautiful to see artists from all over the world with completely different styles bring something together with such harmony. We wanted to make sure we had diverse artists with diverse styles because we want to embrace the entire community and we want everybody to find something that they can love.
As far as how sort of organized and kind of like put together it was, it just felt really seamless.
Bright Walls was incredible. My experience was only positive things. You know, I've never been involved with a festival that's been this well organized.
I have never been to a festival that is so organized.
Nearly 40,000 people have been showing up to this festival. That's amazing, 40,000 people.
What it takes, real positive feedback we've received of painting murals on the backs of buildings that were otherwise just blank gray drab walls.
And I think it's exceeded everybody's expectations.
Basically kind of a recap of what was our 2019 festival. And we were really excited to be able to hire Owly to come in and do the videography and come up with that amazing marketing piece for us. So I'm glad I got to show it to you. When we were looking at doing public art in Jackson, we needed to figure out, well, first of all, we needed to figure out what we wanted to do. And the reason we chose art is because we did a lot of research and we found out that public art has social, cultural, economic, health, and aesthetic impacts on communities. And that's exactly what we wanted to do. We wanted to make the biggest possible impact. So we decided we needed to put together a team, and our team of 12 that's been with us since day one, they are all volunteers. Our team is entirely dedicated to this. It's almost like a second job for most of them. When we were looking at our team, we wanted to make sure we had a lot of diversity in our backgrounds as far as our experiences. So we have people that have experience in event planning, graphic design, some artists. We've got people that work in the nonprofit sector, people that have worked in the public sector, private sector, all of those. We've got an accountant, we've got somebody that her primary job is safety, and I love that we have a safety coordinator. She makes sure that everything goes smoothly during our festival. So as our team was putting together our plan for this, we knew that the first partner we had to get on board was the City of Jackson. In Jackson, I think prior to us, there had been one successful mural where the people had gone through the process of getting the approvals that they needed, and all we ever heard was, oh, the city doesn't like murals, it'll never happen, you know, just don't worry about it. So what we did is we actually looked at the city's master plan, and we thought, well, if we can connect it to where the city wants to go, then that's the best approach to getting the city on board. So we did our research and we read the entire 200-page city master plan, which just came out in 2010. So it's new, and we knew that this is where the city wanted to go. And we found 4 ways that our project was going to directly impact where the city was going. So first of all, making Jackson a destination. So our community is on the crossroads of I-94 and 127. So we have a lot of traffic going past our community. What we want is to get those people off of the highways and into our downtown. So making Bright Walls a big tourist attraction was very big. We also wanted to make sure it was a place that people could make memories and share them. And I'll show you later how much that's been shared. Next, the city has a goal of having government and community engagement through partnerships. So we knew that they needed to be a partner. And we made sure that we were very, very dedicated to following the processes of getting everything approved properly, getting things through the red tape, and streamlining that process. And we've actually taken a lot of steps to work with the city to make sure other people can get through the process as well. We wanted to, the city has a goal of attracting young talent. We're Jackson Young Professionals, so that is the target demographic for a lot of employers here in town. And if we're excited about this project, we know others will be excited about this project. So that was a given. And then the most obvious was beautification and vibrancy in the heart of Jackson. So cleaning up areas, we decided to focus on pockets of the downtown that were underutilized, or you wouldn't even notice until you walked back there to find out what was going on. So in choosing our location, we plotted out every blank wall in downtown Jackson, and we quickly saw that we could choose clusters of areas and pockets of areas to focus on, and that became kind of our niche. There are other mural festivals around the world, and I'll use Detroit's Murals in the Market as an example, that they spread them out all over the city. So when you go to Murals in the Market, you might get to see 40 or 50 murals being painted, but you have to travel a long way to do that. So for Jackson, we decided the best course of action was to choose a small pocket where you can literally stand in the middle of our festival center and watch all of the walls being painted. It's very cool, very walkable, and very much under placemaking strategies. The next thing we wanted to do is we wanted to make sure it was high quality art. So we chose artists that we knew were professionals. We wanted people that had participated in mural festivals before or could demonstrate that they could create such a large piece of art in a very short period of time. They're in our community for 6 to 8 days, and in that time they're creating pieces that are 60 feet wide by 30 feet tall. These are huge pieces. We also wanted to make sure we focused on a diversity of style and background, so anybody that comes down and looks at a mural, they can find a mural that speaks to them. We wanted to make sure that we were finding murals that fit within our community and that everybody would be able to approach. We also looked at the personalities of the artists. We knew this was going to be a 24/7 job for us, and when we're at the festival, the team is there on site nonstop, and so we wanted to make sure we were hanging out with cool people. So we were looking at that, and we watched a lot of interviews by artists, making sure that they fit in with the culture that we were looking for, as well as with our community, and would interact well with the community and have a good time while they're here. We do use a festival model, so that means that the artists don't actually get paid for their work, but we also don't control what they paint. We select the artist based on their style of art, and then their contract says they have to stay within that. But we, 9 times out of 10, don't know what they're putting on the wall until it's on the wall. We do pay for all their expenses, so basically from the time they walk out of their door to the time they get home, they don't have to spend a dime. We're known for our hospitality, and that has spread quickly through the artist community, and we love that. So when artists come here, they're treated like royalty. We are a small community, so getting these artists into our community, they are treated like famous people, like celebrities. The community loves it, and then as a team, we love hanging out with them. So we do fun things. Jackson is known for its hot air balloons, so last year we were able to provide a hot air balloon rides for the artists while they were here. We do dinners on the lakes so that they get to enjoy our beautiful lakes here. And because of that, we're able to entice some big names, which then helps fill out our roster. For example, in 2018, this is a mural that was done by Say Adams. He is known as the grandfather of street art, and he was the first artist that we got on the roster. We call this the mural that started it all. My co-director, Clay McAndrews, he was kind of the brainchild of this whole thing and it started because he wanted to propose to his now wife, and found a mural in Philadelphia that said love, and they got engaged in front of this. And then while he was on that trip, he's texting me going, hey, can't we do this in Jackson? And it kind of bloomed into what it is now. But when we called Say and we told him this love story, he was the first one to sign up. And then from then on, it was super easy to get artists on our roster that year because Say Adams was going to be there. They wanted to work with Say. So then we moved on, and we had this kind of happy accident the first year. We didn't really expect this to happen, but an artist out of Detroit called Wheezy, Louise Jones is her name, and she originally signed up to be on our roster for 2018, but then got an opportunity to go to New Zealand. And we're like, oh, You can't turn on New Zealand for Jackson. We totally understand that. But let's try this. Let's show the community about what we're trying to do and have you come in a couple of weeks early. So Weezy came in about 2 weeks before the 2018 festival and did this mural for us. It was, she did this in a day and a half, all with spray paint. And this right here generated more marketing power than anything else we did. It was the best piece we did, or best thing we did. And it was, of course, by accident. Weezy did come back in 2019 and did this piece for us. It's one of the largest murals, and it is in the most prominent location in downtown Jackson. This is a mural by Bicicleta Sanfrio. They're from Brazil. They're a duo, and they named this one Lookout. It's actually a wolverine. When they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do, they did a lot of research on Michigan and found out that our state animal was the wolverine. And so they wanted to incorporate that. This is probably our most divisive mural. People either love it or they hate it. And so it's one of those that we have a lot of fun with. David and Patton came and did this. It's our Grow mural. It's probably actually on the busiest street in our downtown, so it gets a lot of visibility. It is, the fun thing about this one is Dave took part in what we call our intern program. So he asked for a local artist to help him, and we offer that to all our muralists. Some of them take us up on it, and some of them don't. But he ended up with an artist named Shannon Reef from Spring Arbor University. And when he was done, he was so proud of how they had worked together. He actually credits her on the mural. So if you go to see it, you can actually see her name by his signature, which is pretty cool. This is Sweet Talk. It's by an artist named Hellis Wynn out of San Francisco. And this was the largest piece she had done at that point. She's primarily a fine artist and sticks to smaller portraits. Our fan favorite, I Am Ilko. He is from the Netherlands, and this was the largest of the 2018 murals. He has so much personality, it's just insane. He was literally on both years, he came back for 2019 as well, and on both years, he was down to the last second. We were pushing him in the car to get to the airport so he could finish up. And here's his 2019 mural. This is an artist called It's a Living out of Mexico. And this one, he actually had a different word for us. He only does typography like this. And he had a different word, but on the airplane to Jackson, he did a little bit of research and found out we were the Rose City and that we had done a lot of reconstruction and a lot of rebuilding in the last few years. And so he decided the word bloom was more appropriate for us. And then he was able to finish this quite quickly. And in that same year, he was able to do a second mural for us down here, the Jackson. And we were very honored because it was the first time he's ever done a city name. So it's very cool. We see this mural used in by a lot of different businesses and a lot of different things on their Facebook pages and stuff like that. It's really fun to watch. This is a mural done by Arlen Graff. He paints large endangered animals so that he can raise awareness about those animals. He loves to talk to the audience and tell the stories of why he's chose who he did. Claire Foy from Australia, she does portraits and she does them of local heroes. So she chose in our community Wanda Beavers, also known as Mama Tutu. So this is the Mama Tutu mural. Mama Tutu is a person in our community that she at one point in her life was homeless and received a home from Habitat for Humanity, and now in turn opens up her home and helps the homeless community here in Jackson by doing fundraisers, offering dinners, offering any help she can. So she was a great pick to represent our community. David Rice was actually added to our roster pretty late in 2019. We had a different artist picked out for this, and he couldn't get his visa, which was a new challenge for us. We hadn't come across that one yet, but when dealing with international artists, there's a lot of paperwork. And so at the last minute, we found David Rice, and he is from Washington, was able to come out, did this amazing realistic flowers, and now it's one of the favorites in the community. And he'll actually be coming back to help us with a project this year. Emily Ding is from Texas. This was her largest piece that she's ever done. She's also the youngest artist we've had on our roster. This is a city building. And so one of the things we always have to deal with is the different building owners. Every different building owner has their own personality and they kind of want to control what's on their building, but we can't. Our model is that we don't tell the artists what to do. So the city was a little tentative about letting us paint this building. We ended up actually being able to put 3 murals on this building. And because of our great success in 2018, they were willing to trust us, and they ended up with this amazing piece that kids love this piece. We get a lot of family pictures in front of it. We did also have a building owner in 2018 that originally told us no, and he ended up with 3 murals because we finally talked him into it. And he's now one of our biggest supporters, and actually changed the interior design of his building to match the mural that ended up on the outside. This is one of my favorites. I have different favorites every day. I say this is one of my favorites, but it's a good representation of how the artists do their research before they come to town. So this is Key Detail and Julia Yababa. They brought their young son with them, so it was a family affair for them, and ended up doing the largest mural we had in 2019. And they incorporated the automotive of the Jackson car, which is the car in the background, as well as the corset industry, so the woman wearing the corset. And that was very exciting for us. And then Tyler Verhees, he's actually one of our Michigan artists. He's from Fenville. He also looked at the automotive industry and ended up including the Kaiser Darren, which was the last car to be built in Jackson. So in addition to doing the murals, we knew that we wanted to do a community festival. The first year, we really didn't know what to expect. And so at that time, we're like, well, who's gonna wanna come down to downtown Jackson and just watch paint dry? We couldn't visualize how this was gonna turn out. So we decided to put together a full 6-day festival, and each day has a different theme, and each day has a different target audience. And we did that deliberately because we wanted everybody in the community to be able to find something that they could enjoy. We also make sure that everything with our festival is completely free. Unless you want to buy food, you can come down, spend days there, and not spend a dime. So our first day is a Thursday, and we call it our media day. It usually has our opening ceremonies. We talk to our partners. We do a lot of hand-holding with the partners. The partners get to meet their artists, and it's about kind of kicking everything off. We also have that evening our partner dinner, where we treat the partners to a nice dinner at one of the local restaurants, and they get to interact with the artists and hear from the artists and things like that. Friday is one of my favorite days. This is the downtown mess around. So as part of this, we don't want it to just be about Bright Walls. We want it to be about Jackson. So we want to push our guests out into the downtown area and get to know our businesses. So we encourage the businesses to have Bright Walls specials or do Bright Walls partnerships. So we've had an art gallery that does a specialty chocolate. The Grand River Brewery created a Bright Walls lager for us. And down in the lower left-hand corner there's some skeletons. That's the Jackson Antique Mall. They're known for doing really elaborate window displays, and so they always try to incorporate Bright Walls whenever they can. Saturday is our Rock the Block. During the day, we have our mini murals contest. So we invite local artists to come and do 4x4 murals. Last year we had, I think, about 150 participants. So in downtown Jackson, we had about 150 people live painting something, and that was pretty awesome. We're very excited about that program. It's a contest, so there's a community choice top 3, and then we have a jury that chooses their top 3 as well. This year, because we have to socially distance, we're switching things up a little bit, and we're doing what we've wanted to do for a while as a community mural. And we're partnering with the library, and we have given them 6-inch by 6-inch boards that anybody in the community can come, pick up, decorate, and then turn back into the library. And then we're gonna put them in these large displays, and those will be up in the fall for people to take a look at. Also on Saturday, we always have a big concert, and it's completely free. The first year we had a little bit of rain, so we had to move into one of the theaters, but last year we were outside. It was amazing. We had several thousand people there just for the concert. Sunday is our family day, so we invite local community organizations to set up booths, and we don't charge them for the booths. There's two criteria. One, they can advertise themselves, but they have to include a interactive activity for kids or for families. So that is a great way that kids can come out and be very interactive. I think last year we had about 25 organizations do that. So there was tons of stuff for the kids to do. We also work with the Jackson School of the Arts to put on a show that afternoon, and they basically get to take over our main stage and do all kinds of dance recitals. Last year they had a bunch of circus performers, all kinds of cool stuff like that. And then we invite the Capital City Brass Band to come, and they play a concert, which is a great draw for every age. It's so family friendly. We love it. Monday is our education day. So this is the day that we focus on students and getting students interacting with the artists. So we have panels all day long with different topics and different artists speaking on those topics. And we have guided tours that people can take. We also, the way we get the students down is we make it a field trip for them. So we work with the teachers here in Jackson and come up with a schedule that works for them. And then they can apply, or they can submit their busing expenses, and we reimburse them for that, because that's usually the biggest hang up as to why schools can't do field trips. So we pay for those expenses for them. In 2019, we bused in over 600 students. We even had we had a school from Pinckney that came over, which is the next county over. So it was about an hour drive for them to get to Jackson. And then finally, we wrap it up with our Pixel Party on Tuesday. And that is all about the pictures. We have a photo contest. So throughout the week, we've had a photo team taking lots and lots of pictures. We try to post a lot of their pictures that day. So you can see we've got some pretty creative ones that come up. It's all about the artists finishing up their work, kind of wrapping up the week and and celebrating what we have accomplished. So in 2019, I'll show you some fun stats. We had over 30,000 visitors. Our tally count, we actually counted at the gates how many people came through. So we know we were over 30,000. There were times where we weren't counting, and so we think it may actually be closer to 40,000. We used over 2,500 cans of spray paint. We had 200 volunteers throughout the week, 180 gallons of bucket paint. 444 community members helped us raise $50,000 in the MEDC Patronicity Program. We had 75 business partners, 24 artists. We created 21 murals, which now gives us 36 in Jackson, as we did 15 the year before. We used 16 different walls. We had 12 Bright Walls team members. We won 2 awards, and we had one incredibly bright experience in our hometown. So we were really excited about the awards we won in 2019. We were awarded the Amatanashi Hospitality Award for the best event by the Chamber of Commerce and Experience Jackson. And we were also lucky to win the Diversity Award for our artists and our accessible event from the City of Jackson Human Relations Committee. That one was really a surprise to us, and we were very excited about that. So to do all this, it takes a big budget. So in 2018, our budget was $160,000. And that jumped to over $300,000 in 2019. In 2020, we're looking at about a $30,000 budget. We are doing what we're calling bright spots. So we've postponed our finale festival until next year, but we wanted to still do something in the community. And then for 2021, we're looking at a $425,000 budget. We were very particular about our brand, so we do a lot of marketing, and you'll see it advertised throughout the community as we're doing the festival. I like to say, just come downtown, you won't miss Bright Walls. Our logo is everywhere. We've had a pretty good reach in our online community. So our Instagram is very heavily followed. Our hashtag, we get tons of posts. We love seeing everybody making the memories and posting those online. From Facebook, we know that we've got reach all over the world. And since 2018, we've received 231 email requests from artists wanting to be a part of our festival. And that's amazing that you get these people from all over the world that want to come to our small little town. As far as the community impact, we've seen a lot happen. So in 2018, in the block that we were working in, we saw a lot of facade updates. This is a good example of an automotive repair company. He was one of the first to sign on. He ended up with 2 murals on his building, and that inspired him to go ahead and update his facade. So you can see on the lower part here how much it changed. And he did that right before the festival. So everybody that came down got to see the new building. We've seen a lot of reconstruction of parking lots. In 2019, the parking lot we wanted to take over for our festival is a city-owned parking lot. And it had been on the books for several years to reconstruct this parking lot. And when we said we wanted to do our festival there, they said, okay, let's move that up, get it done. And literally 2 days before we had to set up, they were laying down the final, or the base coat of pavement that we were gonna have our festival on. It was a little crazy, but it happened. We've been able to work with the city to purchase some resources that other events get to use. So we were able to purchase 800, I think it's about 800 feet of fencing that now gets used year round by festivals. We're currently using it for the outdoor seating for restaurants as a result of the COVID. We've helped streamline the systems. There have been multiple other murals that have been able to go up because of what we've gone through. An example, so this is a gallery that I own in downtown, and during the Bright Walls Festival, we had 852% increase in our customer count and 633% increase in our sales that week. And then to kind of put the final touches on everything, we really want to make these bright walls. So we add lights to all of our walls. We add plaques showing the artists and the sponsors. And now we're starting to do things like additional programming. So in 2019, we did an event called Night Walls, which to show off the lights, we did a night tour of them. We did an event called Fright Walls on Halloween, which was a trunk or treat. And we thought we might get about 1,000 people to come out, and we think we ended up with closer to 5,000 people to come out to that. It was crazy. And then we also work with the Chamber of Commerce for self-guided tours and things like that. So that is all I have to say, but I hope there's lots of questions out there, and I will turn it back over to you guys.
Very good. One question I had pertains to the buildings. I mean, that many buildings, there's going to be a lot, or at least there's a few, I assume, that are privately owned. So what considerations went into, putting art on a privately owned building, knowing that, that owner might not own that someday? What were some of the questions you got from funders about that as well?
Yeah, so we have building owner contracts. With every building owner, they have to sign a contract stating that we can put this on their wall, and they have to agree to basically maintain it from now on. So we're giving them a piece of art, but they have to take care of it. They also have to allow us to put the lights on the building. What we do is we select our area first and then look at the buildings within that area. So far, we've only had 1 or 2 building owners either hesitate or say no. We've usually been able to talk them around and get them involved because they're seeing how great this is. Street artists, when they come and do these murals, they know that they're not long-term, or they're not going to be there forever. They're outside, so the weather plays a part in it. We do seal coating on some of the art, or some of the pieces that are in direct light and things like that. For example, this year, one of the artists that's coming is doing a wall that we're pretty sure is going to be torn down in the next 2 to 5 years. So it's just kind of the way of the industry.
Mm-hmm. Now, do Do you do any prep for the walls before the artists come, or is that separate?
Nope, we do all the prep. So there are a lot of mural festivals out there we've found out that don't prep their walls, but as part of our partnership with the city, they want to make sure that they last as long as possible. So we have agreed that we put base coats on everything, seal things very nicely. If it's we try not to do unpainted brick, but occasionally we do. And in those cases, we make sure we use the right products. We have a prep painter from the Detroit area that comes over and spends, last year he was here for about 3 months prepping walls. It's probably one of the biggest portions of our budget.
Okay, very good. Question from the group. What was the lead time on planning for your first year, and how did you budget for that?
Yeah, that was interesting. So our very first team meeting was the last week of January 2018. Our first festival was October of 2018. So we had about 9 months to plan that first one. All the budgeting we did that year was based on experience in those that have planned events that are on our team. And our partnership with the city gave us a lot of insight on what that budgeting could look like. We were very lucky with the city. They provide a lot of equipment and things like that for us. They usually have, we get to use a lot of their stuff. So they provide the bathrooms for us, tents, things like that. So that's a huge chunk of our budget, and we're very thankful for that. So
I'm curious, if you could articulate where the funding came from. I saw you had 75 business partners. MEDC was involved through the crowdfunding program. I look at the numbers that you put up for your budget, and I think you did a lot with a pretty modest budget. It's not huge, and
yeah, it feels huge when you look at the big number, but we try to do a lot with as little as we can. I'm very much because of my Think Jackson business, it's literally just my mom and I. So I'm used to working on zero money with zero help. And so when it comes to this, I love that I have a budget and I have help and I have volunteers. So on average, a mural costs about $10,000. So per mural, that's about $10,000 in expenses for us. And then the festival is the remainder of the budget. We have, the city of Jackson is a huge in-kind partner for us. We've got a few other in-kind partners. We've got some partners like McAllister, which does all of our boom lifts. And they don't give us the boom lifts, but they give us an amazing rate on those. So we have those types of partners. And then we have a lot of cash partners. So all of our mural partners at the $10,000 levels, those are all cash partners.
very good. Are the artists, are they supported like as a patron would? How does that work?
We build all of their expenses into our event budget. So we cover everything for them. But when we have like our $10,000 level, their sponsorship level we call it a wall mural. So when that sponsor is right on the boards that are at the walls showing who the artist is, and then it says their sponsor. So I guess it's kind of a hybrid of a patronage, but we cover all those expenses. We book all the hotels, book all the flights and everything like that. So.
Okay, very cool. Well, I don't think you can watch that presentation and not be inspired by what you've achieved over the last few years. And those walls, I saw hashtag wall envy, mural envy, and I think we can all agree. So this is a great kind of textbook way to really make a big impact in the community. So we thank you for joining us today.
And I was only able to show you a fraction of the wall, so you'll have to come to Jackson to see all 36.
Great product placement there. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. It's a really cool to get everyone on the call, and we want to keep this conversation going. Infuse is focused on trying to bring life to the spaces in all of our communities that don't have it. And this is part of that solution. So thank you all. And I'll look forward to seeing you all at the next Zoom meeting or in person.